Anyways, Tanner's film this week was the 2013 film Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox.
That's right, everyone. Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, just like The Flash, is the story of the Flash goes back in time to save his mother, and it fucks everything up, and then he has to change it back. The end. Fun fact, Barry's childhood home was made to look like Marty McFly's home.
Okay.
I like how you said much like The Flash, as if this movie came after that movie. Anyway, rankings.
No, I think it's just, I think it's a time-agnostic point of comparison.
Fair enough, dude. Anyway, what's your ranking?
Right now, I'm pretty unsure of this one, but I'll say I'm at a B.
That's so shocking, man. I would have expected so much more of you. I'm at a C+.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm also at a C+.
Wow, I like this movie a lot more than you guys. I didn't expect to like it more than Tanner. I just gave it an A. What's wrong with me?
I didn't expect so either. Like, I'm just so shocked. This film is definitely better than Superman versus the Elite, but I guess you just don't think so, pal.
No, I don't think so. I was kind of let down by this one. I think I went in with way too high expectations for it. I think it's a cool story. I think it has much better action than The Flash, and like obviously I think it's leagues better than The Flash. My biggest problem, and one that really does hurt it quite a bit for me, is the pacing. It is way too fast-paced, man. We are not lingering on anything. We're barely able to build up anything that's happening. I think this movie severely suffers by how quickly they are trying to get through what is like a decently intricate plot.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I was shocked they didn't really linger much on was just the Flash's mom. Like, the entire reason this event is happening is because he went back in time to save his mom. And we get one scene with her where she's like, "Hey, Barry, you want to see me for my birthday?" And he's like, "Mom, you're gay, by the way." No! And that's her entire involvement in the plot.
Real.
Which, by the way, based gay pride. The Flash is gay. He's also canonically a bottom.
Yeah. It opens with that fucking guy going, "Well, Flash, looks like you're the bottom and I'm the top," which is already funnier than anything that was in 2023's The Flash.
I'm using that for the fucking intro for the section, by the way.
I would expect nothing else.
But yeah, also, just the fucking animation and the character models are wildly inconsistent throughout this film. And
True.
Additionally, they just make everyone look like they're on steroids, which is weird.
I mean, I don't think that's weird. They're, it's superheroes. They're doing a very faithful,
it's weird for the Flash to be that way. Look. Like, he's supposed to be a bit more lanky. Like, he has like a bit of muscle on him, but he's not like fucking jacked.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very faithful to like comic book depictions of these characters.
They're still ugly as fuck. Yeah, this movie is not great to look at, generally speaking.
Especially the 3D models are terrible.
Yeah, the 3D model was a really weird throw-in. I have been trying to look over. I agree with the pacing. The pacing is Jesus. It's so fast. But I think I watched this movie with Jackson. I remember immediately, one of my first thoughts was, man, I like how they're already immediately handling this better than the live-action Flash movie, and I can greatly appreciate that.
It's because the main character isn't a fucking child.
I'm just glad that they kind of, along with the fast pacing, I'm glad they kind of just cut to the chase. They're not really trying to, get into anything, but at the same time, that's kind of its downfall. I guess part of the reasons you guys were probably not super hyped about the movie, Nico saying the inconsistent character designs and all that shit. I do agree with the 3D modeling. I'm not the kind of person to pay attention to that. I'm reviewing my, ranking. I did give Superman versus the Elite an A. I don't know why or how I put this in A, so I'm gonna continue to research this, but, I don't have anything crazy to say about this movie. I think it's funny that everybody died at the end. It was a very interesting thing about it. I thought it was pretty touching when Thomas Wayne gave the Flash a letter to give to his son. I thought that was pretty touching. But also, what's the deal? I guess I must have missed a beat because all of a sudden he was in the past and he didn't remember what happened. Aren't we supposed to assume that the Reverse Flash is the one that did the timey-wimey bullshit? Is that
Yes.
What are you talking about?
the reason that the timeline changed? Isn't that supposed to be like the Reverse
No,
Flash?
that was the Flash. The Reverse Flash actually didn't do anything.
What? So why
That's
doesn't he
literally
remember?
in his big villain speech. He's like, "That's the great thing, Barry. I didn't do anything. This was all your fault."
So why the fuck doesn't the Flash remember any of it?
Because his memories are being reset to match the new timeline.
But that doesn't happen till later.
No, it's happening all along.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that part was kind of lost on me, so maybe that's a me problem, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a crazy amount of things to say about this movie.
I agree with you that the Flash as a character is just so much better in this one. Not just because he's an adult now, but also, like, doesn't it make way more sense that he's the one that knows about time stuff and not Batman?
Yeah.
Yes.
And also just the time travel in general, like, they just hand wave it much more, which helps. But also, just their explanation makes more sense.
Yeah, they don't try to really explain it at all.
Yeah, they're just like, you created a time boom, Flash. It makes everything shift just a little bit. But just that little bit can be enough for major repercussions.
I'm a big fan that it is, like, it's not, like, massive differences in the characters, too. Like, you guys, Tanner specifically said that this was just or the Flash was an adaptation of this movie, and I did not realize how direct of an adaptation it was. And yeah, no, just like the way they all even do the characters in the timeline, so much better than the Flash. It's fucking insane.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
And even just the main conflict is so much more interesting than, do you remember Man of Steel? We're gonna fight Zod again.
Yeah, it's crazy that the original movie, or not the original, the new one just rehashes the same shit. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's so much more interesting. Like, Atlantis and the Amazonians are going to war, and they've fucking literally destroyed Europe.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
I want it to happen in real life.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly.
What I thought was silly about that conflict was you've got the Atlanteans with their advanced technology, and then you just got the Amazonians with their bows, arrows, like shields and swords, and somehow you're made to believe
They've
they're
got
equal
magic.
forces. I know they do, but it's such a funny thing to see. You got, like, it's a funny conflict. I appreciate it, though. I think it was very interesting as well.
Yeah. The villains are the villains are way better in this one versus the Flash, mostly because they actually are around for a while. And Professor Zoom is, or Reverse Flash, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is fucking sweet. I love that guy. One thing I did end up reading the comic, this is a very faithful adaptation of the comic. The only things they don't really include is that, like, the point of the Flashpoint comic is it's serving to reset the whole DC universe to go into the new 52 comic book line. They don't touch on that at all in this movie, which is probably to its benefit. One thing that I thought was really cool in the comic that I kind of wish was here was during Eobard Thawne's, ending villain speech, is he has this really cool line where he's explaining what Flash has done, where he goes like, You see, Flash, because you reset the world while I was in the time stream, I've become unmoored from time. I can go wherever I want and mess up the timeline however I want, and it won't erase me anymore. I am a paradox. And that's why the thing is called this.
Huh.
That's
I like how
pretty
Thomas
cool.
Wayne blasts a hole in his head. This movie's very gory.
Yeah, that was fucking sick, dude.
I had a suspension of disbelief in that moment. I was like, technically, shouldn't, like, bullets not work on them? But, like, I kind of was just, I waved it away. I was...
Why wouldn't bullets work on
He's
them?
too
They're
fast.
super fast. I don't know.
I mean, he wasn't prepared for it to happen.
Well, you see, he heard the gunshot, and he should be able to move fast enough upon hearing that sound to just move out of the way.
Well, bullet moves faster than sound, though.
That's an interesting dilemma, and I wasn't too...
It's not a major thing. I just thought it was a little silly. I'm not going to focus on it too much.
I will say another positive I had for this film, though, was that it was just fun seeing how all the Justice League diffused the different bombs at the beginning.
I love how Superman just fucking
he just grabs it.
Dude,
just clasps the bomb.
the
He's
science
like,
behind that is such bullshit. That's not how physics works, but, I'll let the
What do
movie
you
have
mean?
it. But it doesn't matter whether I get the Superman's strong enough and indestructible enough for him to just clasp that in his hand. There still needs to be a release of pressure, though. Like, where the fuck is that force going? You can't tell me it just dissipates. That's not how that works. It's a superhero movie. Who fucking cares? I don't know.
You just say it's so, like, hypothetically, if he opened his hands, it would still let out an explosion?
Something like that. I don't know. The force has to go somewhere. That's all I'm really saying.
I thought it was cool enough that I'm willing to ignore that.
Just crushed it and sent into the microverse.
I like how the Flash did a fucking Rasengan from Naruto.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I knew what that was.
Well, boys, I'm sticking at my C+. How about you?
I feel like you should have more negatives given how low your rank is.
It was just a whatever film, basically. That's about it.
Impact of the negatives compared to the quantity of the negatives.
You know, I had a lot more negatives to say about We Need to Talk About Kevin, but I ranked that much higher.
Yeah, for me, I was just bored out of my fucking skull watching this, to be completely honest. I had very little investment in it, but mostly just because of the pacing issues. Like, any amount of lingering they try to do on something is immediately squashed just because it's going on to the next scene. Nothing gets any time, and it just made me conk out of it pretty quickly, and I just couldn't care less. Also, it's just fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Like, there's some decent-looking action scenes, but most of it's just fucking ugly. And yeah, I agree it's better than the new one, but, like, that's not a very high bar.
Mm-hmm. Right. Dude, I like that Aragorn is here, and also Grifter.
I saw Clayface in the movie. I pointed at the screen and said, "Is that Clayface?"
Oh, yeah. Fun fact, the scene where Wonder Woman fucking hangs Steve Taylor? Steve Trevor? I can't remember what his last name is. That's not in the comic. They made that up for the movie.
Oh, very fun.
Oh, yeah. I kind of want to raise it a little bit because I've been very positive so far. I think I'm going to stick with my B, though.
Dude. I'm going to be a little more sensible. Like I said, I can't remember why or how I rated this, I'm comfortable giving it a B. I recognize a fair amount of DC characters in this. I can appreciate it. Also, I think it's funny how we got 2 movies with child murder in it, but, you know, I guess we'll just overlook that.
Anyways, it lands at a B- overall.
Dude, Tanner, really quick, before we move on to the next movie, is killing one of the Shazam kids enough to just not let them transform to Shazam? How the fuck does that work?
So...
Because that's not how it normally works,
all
right?
All of the kids needing to transform to turn into Shazam is not a thing I'm very familiar with. I don't know if that is like an old way that Shazam would work or something specific to this alternate universe, so I can't answer that question.
Because I remember Shazam being just a kid who can turn into a
that's what it normally
superhero.
I know that's what it normally is. I'm not very familiar with this take on the character.
Well, because I know in, like, the newest Shazam movie, each of the kids can turn into their own version of Shazam, but not, like, all of them turn into one Shazam. That's the... Anyway, not important.